TL. Drive. I borrowed my mom's laptop to send some work emails and saw a message from a Chris, thanking her for draining him last night. I looked into their message history and found out she is having a full-blown affair with this guy and has been doing so for at least a year. I don't know how to tell my dad. Please, any advice is appreciated. My mom, 47F, and dad, 50M, have been together for 25 years and I could have honestly said that they were the ideal relationship in my mind. They rarely ever argued, always talked to each other and, I thought, were always loving and faithful to each other. I can even remember in school a few of my teachers telling me that my dad and mom were a great couple and that I should be thankful that I had a great example of what a healthy relationship looks like. They've rarely argued. I can count on both of my hands the times they've yelled at each other. They've always been happy together, as far as I know. I needed to use my mom's laptop to send off some work emails as mine was not connecting to our Wi-Fi. I started sending off emails and my mom's messages popped up on her laptop. It was from a guy named Chris, and he thanked her for draining him last night. I, not knowing what the hell was going on, decided to open up her messages and I saw that she has been cheating on my dad for the past year at least. The messages they sent each other were extremely explicit and they sent pictures and videos. I started to hyperventilate and realized what was happening. I started to dry heave. I was able to screenshot the messages and send the pictures to my email. After that I told my parents I was going out for a bit. My dad told me to stay safe and kissed my forehead and I nearly broke down in the house. I was able to drive away for a few minutes and get to a private location and cry. Why would she do this? Does she not love my dad? He's done so much for her. Waited on her hand and foot when she broke her legs skiing. Moved so she could be closer to her family when she went through PPD with me. He's done so much for all of us and she does this. Why? Dad was always there for her when she needed him. Worked overtime to allow us to experience things together. I don't know what I'm going to tell my sister, 18. She's coming back from university next week and she adores our dad. It's also the last thing I want to tell my brother, 22. Because he's doing his master's and I don't want anything to distract him from his final exams in a few months. It's like I can't tell anyone about this. All of my friends' parents are divorced or were never married to begin with and they also looked at my parents as what a good marriage looked like. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, I just don't know what to do. Whenever I think about it I feel hurt. I remember when I was 16 and my mom showed me the love letters and poems my dad wrote for her and they were all so beautiful. He's loved her with all of his heart for 25 years and she's been doing this to him? The last person I want to tell is my dad. I feel as if me telling him will break everything and the dad I knew who was so loving and caring will be gone. I've been told by my friends that it happened to their parents too. That for years they were never the same. My best friend's dad took his own life when he found out about his wife's infidelity. I'm sorry if this is rambling, I'm just so hurt and confused. Why would she do this? How do I tell my dad that the person he's loved for the last 25 years has betrayed him? Please, any advice is appreciated. I highly suggest posting this in our Surviving Infidelity as that sub has an even better understanding of infidelity and how to deal with it. This almost exact situation happened to me with my mom when I was 18. I confronted her at the time and told her she had to tell my dad. I didn't feel like it was my place to tell him. 4 years later, I found out she was still doing it and never told my dad. My sister ended up telling him then. Looking back, I wish I would have told my dad right away when I was 18. A few years have gone by and my parents are actually still together. I don't live with them anymore so I'm sort of disconnected, but things seem better for them. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It really messed up my entire family's relationship with my mom. She should tell him anonymously, so she doesn't have to go through any more trauma than she already is. She can admit to it being her, if she chooses, once he's made aware, processes the information, and talks to his wife. Make a burner email account on Gmail or use a texting app. Attach the pictures, state the names, etc. I would lean towards telling your dad yourself. Because it's a long-term affair, not a ons or spur-of-the-moment failure. She has to be planning when to cheat, so I would think she isn't too sorry. So if you give her the option to tell him, I bet she will spin it as much as she can to not look so bad. Trust me, there are other things you could have to tell your dad that are far worse. Do the right thing and let him know. I definitely wouldn't trust the mom, to be honest. If it were me, then I'd tell him personally. Best case scenario is that he tells Op that they have an open relationship. That'd be awkward as hell for her, but at least it eliminates the mom from being able to plan a story. Do not listen to these maniacs telling you to go to your mother first. You need your dad to confront her, so she has little time to delete evidence and spin a story. There is no way you saved everything as screenshots, based on your Op. Your dad deserves to know the truth, and he has the right to be angry to the cheater, without giving said cheater a fucking chance to make a bullshit story, and disrespect him more. Also, prepare for the remote chance that they are poly, but I doubt it. Op, I'd tell your dad if I was you. He really deserves to know and be aware. Obviously it's his decision what to do with that knowledge, but letting him have the evidence and be aware is his best bet. I don't know how your mom might react. She could try to blame you, your dad, everyone else but herself. She could try to spin the story to make you look like the bad person. She could also try to screw your dad over and file for a divorce. I'd let him know and then see what he wants to do. Be supportive with your dad and let him know you're here to help him. Tell her that she is to tell him or you will, and not to delete or hide anything because you already have the proof to show him if you have to. He deserves to know. She'll get mad that you saw her personal stuff and probably get defensive, but if she wasn't fucking around she'd have nothing to worry about. It'll be tough, but it needs to be done. Good luck and keep us updated. Agree with this. Mom. I'm not going to hold this in. And if you make me be the one to tell dad and the other kids what's going on, I'm probably going to hate you for it for the rest of my life. Do the right thing. Tell your dad right now. Say what needs to be said, without drama, and that you are so very sorry. Give him his dignity. He deserves to know. If you tell your mom first, she will blame you and draw you in. Just trying to put myself in his shoes. I'd wanna know ASAP and not waste another second of my life living a lie. I would tell your dad instead of giving your mom a chance to tell him. She could change the story or just not tell him and say she did. It's best your dad gets the full truth, and I think you're the best chance at that. Yeah, she will omit and give trickle truths. She has been lying for years after all. Don't go to your mom. It will blow up in your face. People are skipping the main point. For your dad's best interests, tell him immediately and give him the proof and have him contact a divorce attorney before any other steps are taken. Father and attorney need to know and have the evidence before mother is aware. Op knows the secret, or else mother may try to fuck the father over if things do end up ugly. I've been in this exact situation. Talk to your mom and tell her she needs to tell the truth to your dad or you will. Give her a specific time frame. And then follow through with it. If you eventually are the one that tells your dad, it will be the hardest thing you ever do, and everything might go to shit for a while, but everyone will be okay, and everyone will get through it. At this point, yes, they're your parents, but you're 24, an adult dealing with adults. Doing the right thing is the only way you'll get through it all without dealing with guilt or resentment. Sorry you're going through it. Believe it or not, my parents are now reconciled and happier than ever, but not without a lot of tough times in between. The mom will simply downplay it as if she was remorseful. She needs to inform her father. This is not someone that came to their senses but someone that got caught. I might say go ahead and tell your dad first. The last thing you need is your mom blaming you for everything that comes out of it, which is what she may try to do. Approach your dad with your evidence and he can take it from there. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Do not tell your mom first, for the love of God. She will twist the story so hard. All you'd be doing is giving her a chance to hide the evidence and make you look like a liar. It's so weird. People who have these good parents and relationships with them seem to have more skeletons than my family, where it was just yelling and insults. In my experience, everyone is shitty, but there are good healthily relationships. Op might not have realized what was going on with very innocuous things until she actually saw the sexting. People tend to deflect or ignore certain behaviors, evidence when it is someone they love. But for me, everyone is shitty and does shitty things. Can't wait for that meteor to end it all. I told my mom when I saw evidence of my dad cheating on her. I told her first, and when he got pissed at me, I simply told him that there are two sides to this, his or mine. One of those I don't agree with. If I didn't tell her, I was taking his side. If I told her, I was taking mine. Because my morals would have ate me alive if I concealed it. Parents don't realize the risk of cheating put their children in compromising positions in this day and age. You'll get shit on by her, her family, and maybe your siblings. But your morals will be intact. I made it out and I saw many people's true colors. Who are 22. I don't want around me, family or not. What is wrong with the people in these comments? Do not tell your mom. If she knows, she can start the divorce process and screw your dad out of everything. Tell him everything and send him the photos. Even if she doesn't start a divorce, there's absolutely no reason to give her the opportunity to come up with a story or to delete evidence. She chose this path on her own. She already knows that she's cheating, and if you put a timer on it, you are only helping her by letting prepare. Not just that, but your poor dad will be completely blindsided. The right thing to do is to tell your dad and don't let your mom know that you know anything. Your dad needs the opportunity to get ahead of this. Been in this exact situation when I was a teenager, except it was my dad cheating on my mom. I never told either of them, but it did seriously wreck my relationship with my dad for a long time. However, at this point, almost 20 years later, I have a good relationship with my parents and their marriage has survived. Though I've never told him, I've forgiven my dad in my own mind. I don't know if it was a one-off or if it has continued to this day, and I don't want to know, it's not my business. I remember how shocked I was when I found out. Your description of your reaction brought back strong memories. And I felt guilty, for having found out and for not telling anyone. I was a kid and I had no idea how to handle it. I'm sure if I'd told my mom, their marriage would have ended. And who knows what sort of trauma that would have caused. So it's hard to say in hindsight what the best course of action was. At this point I just hope it never comes out. Same experience. It's none of my business. If you hold this in, your mental health will greatly suffer and your dad will be deeply hurt that you withheld this info from him. In his emotional trauma he might even do something drastic like cut you off temporarily. You can 1. Print everything out and leave it for him in an envelope. 2. Tell him directly. 3. Email him. 4. Tell your mom to come clean or you will do it for her. And remind her you have the evidence and not to gaslight or trickle truth him. I was going to say this. Your dad deserves to know. It will be hard for him, assuming he doesn't already know, but he should know. What an awful thing for you to find out. Hey I know you must be feeling a lot of emotions right now. I was in a very similar situation and it didn't feel real. It's a slap in the face, especially when you've thought the best of that parent your whole life. Is there anyone outside of your family, like a friend or coworker, you can trust and talk to? It's going to be a very difficult time, and even though you may feel tempted to act now, telling your dad or confronting your mom is going to be very difficult. It's important that you have support during this time. When my mom cheated on my dad, I felt very similar to you. I decided it would be best to confront my mom first, so I could find out her reasons and have her tell my dad herself. Unfortunately, my mom has strong narcissistic tendencies and only gaslighted me instead, making me feel like I had overread the situation. If I hadn't spoken to my close friends about it, I probably would have believed my mom and dropped the situation. When you get a chance, Screenshot everything. Get your dad as many records and pieces of evidence that you can, because he is going to need it. See to it that you can collect days' worth of evidence, because your mom may target you in an attempt to keep her marriage. Once you give him evidence, dad will take it from there. There is a strong possibility that dad knows and is simply suffering in silence. You'll be able to help him and your family. Evidence. Evidence is evidence. I'm not saying sneak around and find more. I simply mean record what you've already found. I would confront her personally with the evidence and figure out what's going on. What's to figure out? You need to tell him he's going to want all the details and she will purge anything and everything if you give her a heads up. Guaranteed your screenshots are only a snippet of the details. You don't want to sit there and have to deal with your mom begging, yelling at you, threatening, gaslighting, bribing, badmouthing your dad, deflecting, etc. What she's doing is disgusting and she's lost the right to dictate how this comes out. Show him your evidence. Tell him you're so sorry for his pain but he deserved to know, then let him handle it. I won't say who to tell or what to tell, but I do suggest waiting. You're holding a live grenade and you can't unthrow it once you do. So sit on it for 5 days and give yourself enough time to think it through how you decide to go about this. People here telling you that you should be respectful and approach your mom in a calm and reasonable manner are somewhat out there. If the genders were inversed, they'd be screaming bloody murder. Tell your dad. Show him the pictures, and then let him handle it. It's not your place to step in and try to sort this out. It's their relationship, and telling your mom will only allow her to start purging evidence, come up with a story, and get stuff moving before your father ever even finds out something is wrong. Is it possible your father knows? It could be a kink. Everyone assumes it's an affair. What if they have an arrangement? Be prepared for multiple possible outcomes. My petty ass would respond to his message. Who the hell are you? And why are you talking to my mom that way? Let him freak out. Tell her and then she has to try to talk to you about it. Make her lying, cheating ass sick with worry instead of the other way around. You really do hold all the cards. Yes, do this. Talk to your mom first. Maybe your parents have an open relationship and they didn't feel comfortable telling you guys. It's unlikely, but possible. I highly doubt that too. They are traditional when it came to marriage. They absolutely rained hell on my sister's ex for cheating on her.